Do I think testers today are equipped with their toolkit for a daily job? Probably not. I suspect that a lot of the testing that's being done isn't very useful testing, and that as an industry we're not really prepared for what's to come in terms of software testing and the challenges that we face. There's so much adoption of technology, and technology is replacing a lot of what we used to consider testing, and essentially a lot of what we did will no longer be that relevant to people, and the practices that people have are not going to keep up with the challenges of the industry. So for instance, with the smart cities, smart this, smart that, we're dealing with fundamentally different levels of complexity in the environment, and for using simple testing techniques we're not going to understand enough about things like what happens when these technologies go wrong. So how can we think through those implications? And I encourage people to look at the work of, brain's gone, you're going to edit it a bit out, aren't you? Philip Moore, and he has this concept called 5 orders of ignorance. And he published an article on this that you can find online from the ACM. And what he was looking at, ooh, this is not going to go well. You sure? So he talks about the 0 order of ignorance is where we know that the answer is. The first order of ignorance is where we know what the question is, but we don't know what the answer is. And most of the testing or checking in the industry is working at that level. We know what the question is, we're just trying to find the answer out from the software or system that we're working with. But that's not very high value. The real skill is the second order of ignorance, which is where we need to work out what questions to ask of a system to get the answers we need, but we have a methodology, an approach to working out what questions we need. And this is a sweet spot for testers, but very few testers actually learn this or techniques for working out a framework to design the questions of the systems they're working with. And the third order of ignorance is where we have no structure to how we devise our questions. And the fourth order of ignorance, the last one, is we're clueless of this whole concept. Automation will take over a lot of what we'd have done. I'll be talking about that this afternoon, how technology is essentially automatically testing software without any human involvement and providing bugs of value to the teams. So where testers used to find these bugs, it's no longer necessary. You can simply upload the software and machines will do that testing for us and use machine learning to help determine the problems. So we'll see a lot more adoption of that as good enough testing. And by that I don't mean that we may be proud of that testing, but from a team's perspective it's providing valuable and useful and timely information that's good enough for them to improve the software they're working with. So from a tester's perspective, they're going to have to find ways to not really outcompete, but find ways of adding value to their testing practices, which is beyond the stupidities of machines. So machines are particularly stupid in how they behave, and sometimes they make wrong decisions. They get into a loop and they can't escape from it, and a human being, a sentient human being, is the only thing that's likely to rescue us from these situations. So for testers, it's as much thinking through how can I help improve this creeping of machines taking over things, and how can I make sure that people can actually still live fulfilling lives in this environment where machines are doing so much of everything that we live through. So from checking online, to paying our fines, to being allowed into our hotel rooms, to our door locks, all of this is now controlled. Our cars have got 100+ computers in them. So who the heck's thinking through the implications of this? I hope that the testers will be.